Let me introduce to you guys Mark Robinson.
Thank you. Is this?
Oh, don't you dare look back. Just keep doing
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. First off, I want to say thank you give thanks to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Without him, nothing can be possible without him. He has been my guide throughout my life, thanks to my mother, and I give him the thanks and the glory first off. Second off, I thank everybody from Turning Points USA who was instrumental in bringing me and my wife here today. And this week, we've had a fantastic time. I say thank you to all of you. And then finally, I say thank you to my wife of 28 years. My wife is my rock. She does everything for me. Without her, I would probably be, I'm not really sure where I'd be without her. So she is my rock, and I honor her every time I speak, and I say to her again today, thank you for everything you do for me. Now with that, so how many people out there know who I am? If you don't know who I am, don't feel bad. I'm going to give you a short synopsis of who I am. My name is Mark Keith Robinson. I was born and raised in a little town in North Carolina, about 5.5 hours from here, Greensboro, North Carolina. I am the 9th of 10 children born to a woman named Eva Keith. She was married twice. Once to a man named Leith. She had 5 children with him. Then she was married to my father. His name was Robinson. She had 5 children with him. I have 2 sisters that I've never laid eyes on. They're both deceased. I've never seen them. If they could actually, if they were in this room right now, it'd be kind of creepy as they passed away. But I wouldn't even know who they are. I had a very fractured and poor childhood, but I had fun and I learned a lot and certainly loved my family. So now, how did I gain notoriety? I gained notoriety because quite simply, I went down to my local city council there in Greensboro, and I stood up to our leftist city council and in no uncertain terms told them they would not strip my rights away from me without a fight, period. That video garnered some 100 million views across the internet and has inspired people to go down to their city councils and their town halls and do the exact same thing, and that is more than I could hope that it would do. And I hope that it continues to inspire people all across the globe. So now let's get right into this, what I want to say today. I've told you who I am. Now what am I? I am a Christian, American, conservative, Republican. Let me say that again. I am a Christian, American, conservative, Republican. I make no apologies for being such. And let me tell you why I am. First of all, I am a Christian. And here's the number one reason I'm a Christian. Because Jesus Christ is the ultimate example of what we should be. Jesus Christ held all of the power in the world in one hand and all of the wisdom of the world in the other hand. And instead of rule over us, what did he do? He allowed himself to be stripped naked, beaten bloody, and crucified. And he did that for me. He did that for me even before I left my mother's womb, even before I took my first steps or said my first words or committed my first sin. That sin was paid for by the blood of Jesus Christ, who gave himself up as a sacrifice. That is why I'm a Christian. So now why do I call myself American? I call myself American for these reasons. It is our blood and sweat and tears that have helped build this nation. My blood, sweat, and tears were given in the United States military, not in an African military, not on the African continent, but on the continent of North America and the country of the United States of America. And I want all the rights and privileges due to me thereof So I am an American, not an African American, an American only, and expect to be treated as such. Now, why am I a conservative? Why do I call myself a conservative? It's quite simple. The first reason I call myself a conservative is because I believe in the absolute 100% sanctity of human life. When we look at leftists, one of the common themes of leftists has always been an overwhelming disregard for human life. For me, I believe that human life begins in the womb. I heard someone else mention Margaret Sanger. I despise Margaret Sanger. Even in her grave, I still despise her. I've sat in classrooms and I've told professors that I despise her. And when they asked why, this is what I told them. I am the 9th of 10 children born to an extremely poor black woman in the South. If Margaret Sanger in 1967 could have counseled my mother, she would have told her to abort me in her womb. But thank God my mother was a woman of God instead of a stooge of the left. And she saw to it that I was born. And she endowed me with an overwhelming belief in Jesus Christ. And he's taken me to great heights. He's blessed me with a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful children, and a wonderful grandson. None of that would have been possible had it been for Miss Sanger. Why else am I a conservative? I'm a conservative because of this. I believe that I should earn my keep and that I should keep what I earn. I believe that the sweat of my brow, what I earn by the sweat of my brow should be mine. That's true social justice. When you earn it, you keep it. It shouldn't be taken away from you by an all-powerful government that doesn't think you can be trusted with it or that you deserve it. It should be yours. That's another reason I'm a conservative. And I believe in the strength and the sovereignty of this nation. I believe that our borders should be secured. And that if you want to come here and be an American, that you should come correct. If you wanted to stay what you were, you should have stayed where you were. You should not come here and demand that we change to your standards. You should change to ours. And if you don't plan on doing it, don't set foot on our border. So now, why am I a Republican? When the question was asked in this nation, should this nation be free or slave? It was Republicans who answered overwhelmingly, it should be free. When the question was asked, should this nation be divided or be union? It was Republicans who answered overwhelmingly, it should be a union. The 13th Amendment that ended the institution of slavery was passed by Republicans. The 14th Amendment that gave black people equal protection under the laws of our Constitution was passed by Republicans. The 15th Amendment that gave black men the right to vote was passed by Republicans. The 19th Amendment that gave women the right to vote was passed by Republicans. And you ask me why I'm a Republican. Why not ask me why I'm not a Democrat? The very first answer that comes to mind is this. You know, we have this resistance that's going on to our current Republican president that's called a radical. Do you remember when the first resistance to a radical Republican was? His name was Abraham Lincoln. And that resistance was called the Confederacy. And it tore this nation in half and nearly tore asunder. That's the legacy of the Democratic Party. The legacy of the Democratic Party is the Ku Klux Klan and Jim Crow. And the social welfare that is currently destroying black communities around this nation. That is the legacy of the Democratic Party. And that is why I am a Republican. And so it is today. I am a Republican today because Republicans overwhelmingly, when asked the question, should the unborn live or die? Republicans answer they should live. When the question is asked, should our borders be safe and secure or open wide for anyone to enter? Republicans answer they should be secure. It is Republicans that fight for economic prosperity. We see that now with the president who is in office now that they call a radical. Fiscal responsibility in government. It is Republicans that fight for those ideas. And that is why I'm a Republican. Now I'm going to conclude with something that a lot of people around the nation getting real upset with. I've had people look at me like they want to hit me when they see me wearing this thing. Sure do. I've had people lash out at me when I say it. Now, thank you, appreciate that. The saying on this hat, make America great again. I do a lot of social media. One day I was on social media, posted a picture of myself wearing this hat. And some leftists asked me, when was America ever great? This is the answer that I gave her. This is the answer that I gave her. I told her America was great at a place called Bunker Hill. When American patriots took on the most powerful army on earth and got their hind ends whooped. At that moment, in that terrible, terrible defeat on Bunker Hill, even before she was a nation, America was great. America was great at a place called Fredericksburg. I don't know how many of y'all have ever heard of it. Terrible loss for the Union. They had to stack their dead on top of one another to guard themselves from Confederate bullets. But during that terrible loss, that terrible battle, and in all those deaths, America was great at that moment. America was great through the smoke and fire of Pearl Harbor, when we lost 2,700 soldiers from a sneak attack from the Japanese. America was great at that moment. America was great at Pork Chop Hill and Quai Sam. She was great on the Edmund Pettus Bridge when water hoses and tear gas and attack dogs were set on people who were simply demanding to be treated as equals. America was great at that moment. America was great on 9/11. When we lost 3,200 of our fellow citizens to a terrorist attack. America was great at that moment. Someone might ask, why do you mention all these terrible things and none of the, quote, good things? Because everybody knows that it's at the most adverse times when you show your greatness. And America has showed her greatness at the most adverse times. The times when it looked like she was knocked out, when she was down on the canvas, when her mouthpiece had been knocked out and the count was at 8. But she got back up again. She gritted her teeth and she came out swinging. That's when America was at her finest. Time and time again. And she's at her finest now. So for me, Make America Great is not just a slogan. It is a commitment and a challenge to every day wake up, get out of bed, look in the mirror and ask myself, what can I do for the cause of freedom? What can I do today for my neighbors? What can I do today for my coworkers and my fellow patriots in this fight to preserve our nation? That's what Make America Great Again means to me. It's a commitment and a challenge to get out of bed every day and work hard to make this nation great, day after day, week after week, year after year, month after month. That's the challenge. And the reward is to keep this republic. And I intend to fight that fight as hard as I can and be proud to do it. And I encourage all of you all to do the same thing. Thank you very much. God bless you all. God bless the United States of America.
of the night. The chemical, physical, kryptonite. Help us to
Mark, will you be out in the hallway for them to meet you and stuff? Okay, he'll do it. But y'all gotta wait though. Wait till it's over and y'all can go meet him. But man, was that amazing or what?